Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 6 tips for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get into that, just want to go through a few things with you. Now first of all, I'll just let you know there won't be a video here for Sunday's racing. That's because I'm busy tomorrow night, so I just won't have the time to record, but I will be back for Easter Monday, where we'll be looking ahead towards the Irish National, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Also as well, if you already want my thoughts on the Irish National, make sure you check the latest episode of the In the Saddle podcast, where I was joined by Katie Clements, Paul Callahan, and our special guest this week was Robbie, where we were talking about just that, the Irish National. So if you want to listen to our thoughts on it, there'll be links to it in the description box below, where we've got all the major podcast platforms covered. So whichever one you fancy, Apple, Spotify or Soundcloud, they're all in the description box below, so make sure you check it out. Also as well, quickly just reflect on how our selections performed today. In the end, we just came out on top as we had a winning nap with Bangkok, advertised at 6-5 last night, but that was quickly gone, and in the end he went off a shade of odds on the end. Was a cosy enough winner, I thought. In the end it was a good ride by Silva de Souza, who it could have gone a little bit wrong for him one or two times during the race, but in the end he got him in the right position and he got the job done to beat Pallavicino. So yeah, that was a nice win for us there. The disappointment of the day has to be Apollo 1 for me. He was put up as my next best, advertised at 9-2, and the money did come for him. I think he went off around about 5-2 in the end. But yeah, he was definitely the one to take out the race. Thought he was really unlucky. Martin Hartley obviously didn't have the best of days today. But yeah, even so on this one, I think he got it a little bit wrong. Was a little bit too far back and trapped against the inside. Now, I know he was drawn in stall 2, but if you're going to be drawn there, you really want to be either making the run-in or just tracking the leader, you know, where he was caught up a little bit in the midfield. And then when he needed to go and win his race, he just was always up against it, in my opinion. He got into a couple of gaps. He was badly hampered as well, coming into the home straight. And in the end, he did show that he had quite a lot left under the bonnet, but Martin Hartley was just riding him under hands and heels. And Diligent Harry, who I think was a bit fortunate on the day, obviously a nice horse, you know, and did nothing wrong, but he definitely got the rub of the green, in my opinion. And I think if Apollo 1 had got a more clearer passage, I think he would have had enough in his locker to beat Diligent Harry, and it'd be interesting to see if those two will lock horns again. But yeah, I don't think Apollo 1 got the rub of the green at all today, and Diligent Harry had all the things in his favour during the race. It was a bit of a messy one, but that's the way it goes sometimes. I would actually like them to come wide at Lingfield. Some people might think that's a negative, but I don't think so at all. I think sometimes if you're against that rail and you're just coming into the home turn, you can sometimes get boxed in, and I always think horses that come down the outside at Lingfield, they're the ones that are normally flying home. They've got the clear passages, they're normally out of traffic, and we saw that, for example, today with Holly Doyle when she won on Folus at 25-1. So I think that's maybe how you want to ride Lingfield tactically. But yeah, sometimes it can just be one of those things where you get boxed in and just get no luck in running. But yeah, that's one I think that got away today, Apollo 1. But yeah, that's the way it goes. But not complaining too much. Obviously, we've got a bit of profit with Bangkok, and it means we're slightly up for today. But anyway, we've got lots more to get stuck into tomorrow, where, like I said at the top of the video, I've got 6 horses for you, and we're going to get stuck into them now. And for the first one, we're going to be going to Haydock for my nap, which runs in the 1 o'clock. And this horse is a favourite at the moment, Sexy Lot for Fergus Gillard, claiming 5. He's riding for David Pike. Now, this horse has been so consistent this season. In fact, she hasn't finished outside of the first 2 since her win at Foss Last back in early November. Now, I know she's been on the go a while, but she just seems to keep pulling out even more. And the last time we saw her, she was an easy winner at Sandown, where in third place that day there was a horse called Lady KK of Jeremy Scott. Now, we put up Lady KK here on my YouTube channel yesterday that got us out of the hole. She absolutely bolted up at Foss Lass, and God knows what the handicap is going to do with her, but she won very impressively. And despite getting raised £8 for the Sandown win, I think Sexy Lot still might have a little bit more in her locker. That was over 2.5 miles that day, and tomorrow's going to be over 2 mile too, but I think the trip shouldn't be an issue for her at all. Her main market rival on paper would probably be Impressive Lady. You might remember we actually put up here as a winner when she won at Exeter and got her nice little sequence getting together. But I think tomorrow the ground won't be in her favour, and also as well it's a little bit of a concern in my opinion that we've not seen her for a few months. So yeah, I would definitely be against Impressive Lady. I think she could be maybe potentially quite weak in the betting, and the money might come back in for Sexy Lot. But I thought a 10-3, that was actually a good price there. I think this horse could go off shorter come post time. I thought she would be priced up around about the 2-1, 9-4 mark. I think she'll take all the beating, and it's nice to see that latest run at Sandown but being franked as well. So yeah, I think she'll take all the beating in this race at Haydock tomorrow, and that's why she's going to be my nap. And like I said, at the time of recording, she's available at 10-3, and I'm going to recommend a 1-point win bet with her there. We then go to Musselburgh for an extra tip, where we go with a horse called Hayadh for Sam James and new trainer Harvey Basterman, who's taken over the licence from Becky Basterman, who unfortunately passed away after a long illness a couple of weeks ago. And this obviously would be an emotional winner for the team if Hayadh was to run. But I think there's definitely a lot in his favour tomorrow, which suggests he could run very well. He's currently available at the time recording at 10-1 with bookmakers. That price was available with Bet Victor and Bet365, and I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now this horse seems to absolutely love Musselburgh. He's run some of his career best efforts there, and despite being off the mark of 92, I think coming back to Musselburgh is a really sensible move, and he can go really well fresh. He actually won on his first start last season at Beverley, very impressively, over slightly further. That was over a mile, but at least we know he can go well fresh. I think the ground will be in his favour as well. He wouldn't want it too soft. Forgive some of his efforts towards the end of last season where he chucked in a couple of stinkers. The better ground is key to him, and he's going to have that in his favour at Musselburgh tomorrow. But another key thing for him tomorrow is the draw. On the 7 furlong course at Musselburgh, you don't want to be drawn wide at all, and that's where Stone Soldier is, and I think he's a vulnerable favourite tomorrow in my opinion. You can take him on, and it's too short in the betting. Obviously he's been very impressive so far in the all-weather this season for Archie Watson, but I think you want to be following those drawn inside. And I think Hayadh, who's a little bit of a course specialist, got a good chance in this race tomorrow, currently available at 10-1, and I'll be disappointed if he couldn't at least go close to making the frame. So that's why I'm putting him up there in the 150 at Musselburgh as an each way selection there, available at 10-1. We then go to Haydock for another extra tip in the 240 with a horse called Silva Eclipse for Ryan Mania and Sue Smith. You can currently back this horse at the time of recording at 8-1 with SkyBet, who are offering 5 places on the race, and I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now this horse seems to save his best for Haydock. In fact, all his best form has always come at Haydock. He's got lots of decent hurdle form over the course, but he's relatively inexperienced over fences. He's only had a couple of starts, but he seemed to put it all together last time when he won at Sedgefield, and he beat a fair horse of Nick Kent's called Who's in the Box, and he'd been running some good races prior to that second place effort at Sedgefield. He'd won on his last couple of starts. He'd been running really well, making the frame quite a lot, and I think that was a good effort by Silva Eclipse that day. Also as well, what's good to or interesting to know about Sue Smith is that her stable haven't been in form at all this season, but only in the last couple of months there's been more signs of life. We normally associate the yard coming good in January, but that just didn't seem to happen this year, and it just seems like in the last few weeks or so that their yard have been just churning out a few winners. They're operating at 25% strike rate, and they always seem to do fairly well with their runners at Haydock. So I think this course specialist, off his mark of 129, does have quite a bit of ability to go close in this race tomorrow. He's versatile on all kinds of ground, and I think for me, to 8-1 there, he's a fair each way price, and that's why I'm putting him in as an extra tip. We then move to my long shot of the day, which runs in the 3 o'clock, the Scottish Sprint Cup for Luke Morris and Paul Midgley, and that is Son and Sannie, which is currently available at 12-1 with bookmakers. That best price available was available with SkyBet, who are paying out 5 places on the race, and I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now, Paul Midgley is normally one to follow in these sprint handicaps. In fact, he actually won this race a few years ago, back in 2017, with a horse called Line of Reason. Now, this horse, Son and Sannie, is a fairly new horse to the yard. He only came to the yard last season, where previously he'd been trained in Ireland by a trainer called Richard Brabazon, who I don't know too much about. However, he really did do a good job with this horse, and he was improving quite rapidly last season. In fact, he won, or he ran really well fresh last year. I think he finished second on his seasonal reappearance at the Curragh, and then he went on to win at Naas on his next start, showing some really good speed, winning as well at some stiff finishing sprint courses. So I think that's going to help him at Musselburgh tomorrow. And he's got a rating of 82, which I wouldn't be at all surprised at if Paul Midgley could maybe eke out a little bit of improvement. Also as well, he was ticking over on the weather a little bit towards the end of last year, where he actually put a win together, which I believe came at Wolverhampton. So he definitely has got quite a lot of ability. Okay, this is going to be a career best effort required, but he's got a nice low racing weight tomorrow. And more importantly, what's really crucial in his favour tomorrow is the draw. You want to be drawn high if you can on the sprint course at Musselburgh. Lots of horses that have won this race over the last few years have been drawn high, and he's got a fantastic draw in stall 13, and he's a horse that likes to race up with the pace, either be in the front wave or just sit off it. I think if he can deploy those tactics tomorrow, get off to a good clean break, he might just have too much to beat all of these, and I think he could have a little bit more up his sleeve off a mark of 82. And I think in the race of this nature, he's got a fantastic chance for a yard that does really well with their sprinters. So he's going to be my long shot of the day. Son and Sannie, who runs in the 3 o'clock at Musselburgh, the Scottish Sprint Cup. We then go to my next best of the day, which runs in the 3:15 at Haydock, where I'm going with Small Present here, currently available at 5-1. That price was available at the time recording with SkyBet, who are offering 6 places on the race. And I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here. Now, this horse is trained by Sue Smith, who we mentioned about earlier, and Ryan Mania is in the plate. Now, this horse has done some impressive digging of late, digging himself to victory on his last couple of starts at Catterick and at Doncaster. I thought the win last time at Doncaster was very impressive, where he beat a horse of Jamie Snowden's, who used to be trained by Ollie Murphy, called Scandyberg. And Scandyberg, a couple of seasons ago, had shown some really decent handicap form, a lot of good form in races like Potomp qualifiers, for example. And the pair were miles clear that day. They were 23 lengths clear, I think, of Becky Menzies' Get a Reason. So I think that was a really good run that day. Okay, he was in receipt of a lot of weight, but this horse just keeps finding for pressure, and I think he's got a fantastic chance in this race. He's very versatile on all types of grounds, and I think off a mark of 129, I just think he could still have a little bit more, and I don't think the handicap has quite gotten to the bottom of him yet. And with the yard coming in here in good form, do well at Haydock, I just think there's lots of ticks in his boxes tomorrow. I think at 5-1, that's a fair, dirty each way price, and that's why I'm going to recommend him as my next best of the day. We then end the video with another extra tip, which runs in the Queen's Cup at Musselburgh. We're going with Nate the Great here, which is currently available at 4-1 for William Carver, claiming 5, riding for Andrew Bolden. Now, the price has gone in my opinion now, but I just had to put him up because I did put him up as my nap on the In the Saddle podcast. But I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way bet here at 4-1. There's multiple places being paid by bookmakers. SkyBet are paying 5 places on the race, and I think that's more than fair. But yeah, this horse, Nate the Great, I think he's fairly well treated off the mark of 95, and with William Carver's £5 claim coming into the bargain, he's going to be in essence running off the mark of 90, but he's got a lot of good form next to his name. He comes here off the back of a win at Wolverhampton, and also as well he ran a respectable race in the Queen Alexandra Stakes at Royal Ascot last year behind Who Dares Wins. I think he just didn't quite stay the trip that day, but I think going over this particular trip over 1 mile and 6, I think this will be more up his sleeve. And I think he's got a bit of unfinished business on the turf. He's got a good draw as well in stall 4, and he's a course winner. Okay, won here over 1 mile, but at least we know he can handle this tight, sharp track. So I just think there's a lot to like about Nate the Great tomorrow, and I think he'll take all the beating for an informed yard with Andrew Bolden in the Queen's Cup at Musselburgh. So like I said, they're the 6 tips for tomorrow's racing. They'll all be in the description box below if you want to review them. Also as well, if you're enjoying these videos, please remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe here to my YouTube channel at LuckyLoaders15. If you want to follow me on social media, the only place you can do is on Twitter, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, my website address is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please scam responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.